On our third anniversary, I personally prepared a candlelight dinner for my husband, Marcus. Instead, he brought home his one that got away and a 3-year-old illegitimate son, pushing a brand new official family registration documents in front of me. Grace, a child can't be without a father. From now on, we'll raise him together. Martha, his mother, warmly embraced the woman. My good daughter-in-law, you're finally back. They were a picture of domestic bliss, as if I were the superfluous outsider. I smiled, nodding in response to their bewildered stares. All right, I said. Then, I turned and retrieved the long-sealed stock grant agreement. The agreement stipulated that my father's gift of 51% of Radiant to Marcus would only become effective upon my signature. I picked up a pen and elegantly signed my name in the Waive the Grant section. Before we continue, please subscribe to this channel and tell us where you're listening from in the comments. Today was our third anniversary. I left work early to make our meticulously decorated home feel warm and romantic. I even changed into the Dior red gown he gave me last year, carefully applying my makeup in front of the mirror, anticipating the surprised look on his face when he returned. I thought tonight would be an incredibly romantic evening, but what awaited me was the sound of the door lock turning, and a strange woman with a child. The woman was Chloe. I'd seen her photo before, tucked in Marcus's wallet, the edges worn white from being caressed. She was his first love, the one he always mumbled about when drunk, the one that got away, missed in his youth. And the 3-year-old boy, with his eyes and brows, bore a striking 7/10 resemblance to Marcus. My heart, in that instant, plunged into a bottomless ice cave. Marcus's face showed no trace of guilt, instead, it held a frankness, as if a great burden had been lifted. He placed a dark red official family registration documents on the dining table, its color stinging my eyes. Grace, this is Chloe and our son, Leo. A child can't be without a father. From now on, we'll raise him together. His voice was incredibly gentle, so gentle it was like a knife, piercing my heart inch by inch, rending flesh and bone. Before I could react, Martha squeezed out from behind them, snatched Leo, her face beaming with joy. Oh, my golden boy, I've finally waited for you to come back. Let hug you. She affectionately held the child, then pulled Chloe's hand, her warmth making it seem as though Chloe were her long-lost daughter. My good daughter-in-law, you and the child have suffered so much outside these past years. Good daughter-in-law? So what was I, his legal wife, legally married and had a grand wedding to his son? The 3 generations of them stood together, a picture of domestic bliss, making me feel like an intruder, a superfluous outsider. Chloe glanced at me timidly, her eyes instantly reddening, looking utterly pitiful. Sister, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to break you two up, it's just. Leo needs a complete family. Martha immediately shielded her, glaring at me like a hen protecting its chick. What breaking up? If you hadn't used your family's influence to force Marcus into marriage, he would have married Chloe long ago. Besides, you've been married for 3 years without any sign of a child. You're just taking up space, not giving us a grandchild, and you have the nerve to blame others? Our family cannot be without an heir. Now that my golden boy is back, you, as the primary wife, should show some grace and voluntarily step aside. I looked at the utterly absurd scene before me, listening to these distorting, heart-piercing words, and suddenly I laughed. I laughed at my own naivete, thinking that 3 years of living together could warm a stone. Marcus, the man I had stood by when he had nothing, the man I had helped climb from a corporate newcomer to a listed company's CEO, using all of my Sioux family's resources and connections, step by step. Now, successful and full of confidence, he was eager to bring back his one that got away and his illegitimate son. He thought he had complete control over his life. He thought I, Grace, couldn't survive without him. The smile on my face made both Marcus and Martha hesitate. They probably expected me to cry, to make a scene, to become a hysterical shrew and turn this situation into an uncontrollable mess. But I didn't. I simply nodded calmly and said softly, all right. Then, to their complete bewilderment, I slowly turned and walked into the study. Marcus, you've probably forgotten who truly runs this household, and this company. Inside the study's safe lay a document my father had made me sign before my wedding. It was a stock grant agreement. Back then, my father, William, to support Marcus's venture and to ensure my security, established Radiant, holding 51% absolute controlling interest in my name. But he held a trump card. This grant agreement stipulated that these 51% shares would only genuinely transfer to Marcus's name after I personally signed to confirm agree to grant. My father had earnestly told me, Grace, it's not that your dad doesn't trust Marcus, but people's hearts are fickle. This document is your assurance, and I hope you never have to use it. Unexpectedly, his words became a grim prophecy. My fingertips traced the 4 words, wave the grant on the agreement, my heart feeling utterly cold. The door opened, and Marcus walked in, a hint of smugness and arrogant control on his face. Seeing the document in my hand, he paused but quickly regained his composure. Grace, I knew you were the most generous and sensible person, he said, walking towards me, attempting to put an arm around my shoulder, his voice so gentle it seemed to drip with sweetness. I sidestepped, avoiding his touch, and frowned in distaste. He didn't seem embarrassed, continuing, don't worry, you'll always be my wife, the mistress of this use. Chloe, she's just Leo's mother. I'll give her some money and buy her a house outside to settle her. Can't we go back to how things were? Martha also came to the doorway, holding Leo, chiming in sarcastically, exactly. As long as you're obedient, our Gu family won't treat you badly. From now on, Leo will be registered under your name, and you can say he's yours to the outside world, to avoid gossip about you being unable to have children. You're getting a grown son for free, what more could you be unhappy about? Chloe, head bowed, softly wiped her tears. Sister, please don't blame Marcus, it's all my fault. As long as Leo can be recognized by his family, I'll do anything. I won't compete with you for anything. They sang in unison, having already planned out a future blueprint for me and for this family. What a perfect ending. Marcus would be having it all, in a negative, selfish sense, balancing both his career and family. Martha would get her longed for golden boy. Chloe, by virtue of her son, would live comfortably for the rest of her life. And I would have to generously accept my husband's betrayal, raise another woman's child, and swallow my humiliation. Why should I? Looking at their hypocritical smiles, I felt a wave of nausea. I can accept it, I said slowly, my voice calm, without a ripple of emotion. My compliance made Marcus visibly relax, his smile becoming genuinely radiant. Grace, I knew you loved me the most. Yes, I love you, I said, looking into his eyes, enunciating each word. I love you so much. I want the whole world to know what a fortunate man you are, Marcus. Marcus was taken aback. What do you mean? I placed the agreement back in the safe, relocked it, then looked up, a gentle smile spreading across my face. What I mean is, since Leo is going to be recognized by his family, he can't just move in without proper ceremony. We should host a grand recognition banquet, inviting all our relatives, friends, and business dignitaries. We'll announce to everyone, with great fanfare, that our family has gained a precious new member. Didn't you say I'm the mistress of this house? Then this event should be handled by me, the mistress, to make it legitimate and ensure Chloe and Leo don't feel wronged. My proposal left both Marcus and Martha stunned. They exchanged glances, their eyes filled with disbelief. Martha tentatively asked, Are you serious? Of course, I smiled even more gently. As a daughter-in-law of the Sioux family, I naturally conduct affairs with grace and thoroughness. Not only will we hold it, but we'll make it grand, at the city's most prestigious The Plaza. I want everyone to envy you, to envy our Gu family. Marcus stared at me, seemingly searching for a hint of reluctance or pretense on my face. But there was none, my gaze was open and sincere. He was finally convinced, or rather, his pathetic vanity was convinced. He excitedly clasped my hand. Grace, you're truly wonderful. I misunderstood you. Martha was even more beaming with joy, giving Leo a big kiss. Hear that, my golden boy, you'll be a young master of a prestigious family now. Your dad is capable, and your stepmom has even more grace. Watching their ecstatic faces, the smile on my lips gradually took on a chilling, icy edge. Marcus, you want dignity? I'll give you the grandest dignity. But I wonder if you can stomach this feast I've so meticulously prepared for you. Over the next few days, I behaved like a perfectly virtuous, generous, and devoted wife. I personally handled all the arrangements for the recognition banquet. From hotel selection, guest list, and event flow to media invitations, I was hands-on with every detail, striving for absolute perfection. Marcus and Martha watched, pleased. They completely dropped their guard, believing I had truly accepted reality and chosen to compromise to secure my position as Mrs. Gu. Martha even began throwing her weight around in front of me, instructing me to decorate a room for Chloe and Leo, insisting it be the one next to the master bedroom with the best sunlight. Chloe is delicate, and Leo is still small. That south-facing room is warm, she stated, full of self-righteousness. I smiled and agreed, you're right, Mom. Marcus, too, began to comfortably enjoy having it all, in a negative, selfish sense. During the day, he spoke softly and kindly to me at the company, thanking me for my generosity. In the evenings, he returned home to spend time with Chloe and Leo, playing out a scene of a loving father and devoted son. He even hypocritically told me, "Grace, I'm sorry to put you through this. After the recognition banquet, I'll have Chloe move out. It won't affect us at all." I just listened with a faint smile, non-committal. Chloe, meanwhile, fully embraced the role of a heroine. Although outwardly respectful towards me, calling me sister, with fake deference, at every turn, the smugness and pride in her eyes were impossible to hide. She began subtly inquiring about company affairs and even hinted to Marcus that she wanted a position there. The entire household was a picture of absurd harmony. My assistant and best friend, Sarah, glared at the guest list I sent her, fuming on the phone. "Grace, are you crazy? You're actually going through with this recognition banquet for that scumbag and his illegitimate son? Look who you've invited. Mr. David, the business titan, Mr. Thomas, the tech mogul, and all your dad's old friends and business associates. Are you trying to make yourself look even more foolish?" "Not so fast," I soothed her. "A good show always needs a big audience. What exactly are you planning?" Sarah's voice was full of worry. I looked out the window as dusk settled, a cold smile playing on my lips. "I'm going to personally build him the highest stage, and then, I'm going to make him fall, hard." On the day of the recognition banquet, the scene was grand and unprecedented. All the prominent figures in Sterling City were present. Under the glittering crystal chandeliers, people dressed in their finest, mingling and toasting. Marcus, wearing a couture suit, beaming with pride, held Leo as he moved among the guests, his face flushed, accepting genuine and fake congratulations alike. "Mr. Gu, what good fortune! Your son is so grown up, and he looks just like you." Indeed, Mrs. Gu is truly generous and virtuous, a role model for us all. Martha, adorned in gold and silver jewelry, pulled the equally dressed-up Chloe, showing her off like a hostess. "This is my daughter-in-law, isn't she amazing? She's finally having a grandson." Chloe smiled shyly and timidly, enjoying the curious and envious glances from the crowd. They, as a family, were the center of attention. And I, the nominal hostess of the banquet, sat quietly in a corner, sipping champagne, observing the farcical performance with a cold eye. Sarah sat beside me, her palms sweating. "Grace, my heart can't take this much longer. When are you going to make your move?" I swirled the liquid in my glass, softly saying, "Don't rush. The main act hasn't even started yet." At 8 in the evening, the banquet reached its climax. The host, with an enthusiastic voice, invited Marcus to the stage to give a speech. Marcus cleared his throat, holding Leo, and walked onto the stage with a triumphant air. "Thank you to all our distinguished guests for taking time out of your busy schedules to attend my son Leo's recognition banquet." He spoke eloquently, basking in the spotlight. At the end of his speech, he looked at me, his eyes filled with feigned affection. "Here, I want to especially thank my wife, Grace. It's her tolerance and kindness that have made our family complete." "Grace, thank you." Thunderous applause erupted from below the stage. All guests looked at me, their gazes filled with sympathy and approval. Marcus extended his hand to me. "Grace, come up here, let's take a family photo, all of us." I smiled, lifted my dress, and walked step by step onto the stage he had so meticulously built for himself. I didn't walk towards him, but to the host's side, taking the microphone from his hand. Marcus froze, and the guests below fell silent. I surveyed the entire room, my gaze finally resting on Marcus's smug, self-satisfied face, my smile growing even brighter. "Hello everyone, I'm Grace. Thank you to all the guests for coming to this farewell banquet I'm hosting for my husband, Marcus." "Farewell banquet?" Everyone was bewildered. Marcus's face instantly changed. "Grace, what are you talking about?" I ignored him, instead offering a slight smile to the media section below. "To help everyone understand our happy and complete family better, I've specially prepared a gift, a video, for my husband." The moment my words fell, the gigantic LED screen in the center of the banquet hall instantly lit up. What appeared on the screen was not a warm family VCR, but a series of shocking bank transfer records. X/X, Marcus transferred 500,000 yuan to Chloe's account. Memo, darling, buy the bag you like. X/X, Marcus transferred 800,000 yuan to Chloe's account. Memo, house down payment. X/X, Marcus used 1 million yuan from company reserves to purchase a Porsche for Chloe. Each transaction was crystal clear, the amounts immense, spanning 3 years. The hall immediately erupted. My Isn't that embezzlement? That amount is enough for several years in prison. Marcus's face instantly lost all color. He rushed over, trying to snatch the microphone, his voice trembling. Grace, you're crazy. Turn it off, now. I stepped back, evading his grasp. The scene on the screen shifted, turning into a series of videos. In the videos, Chloe, flaunting Hermes bags and dressed in Chanel, was seen spending lavishly at various high-end restaurants, clubs, and luxury stores. Where was the suffering outside they had spoken of? Even more explosive content followed. A recording play. Ed clearly, a conversation between Marcus and Chloe. Honey, when are you going to divorce that old hag? Soon, darling, just be patient. Once I get my hands on that 51% of the company's shares, I'll kick her out. If it weren't for her dad still being useful, I wouldn't bother with her for a single day. Then hurry up, our son and I can't wait to be the masters of the house. Don't worry, she's just a naive in love fool, completely wrapped around my finger. In the recording, Marcus's voice was full of disdain and calculation, completely unlike the deeply affectionate husband he portrayed on stage. The entire hall fell silent. All the guests looked at Marcus with disgust. Martha's face turned beet red, pointing at me and stammering you for a long time, unable to utter a single coherent word. Chloe, terrified, collapsed to the floor, her face ashen. Marcus, I looked at him, my voice not loud, but like a heavy hammer, striking fiercely at his heart. You wanted me to bear your children, didn't you? I'm sorry, I can't. I paused, then projected a clear photo of a medical report onto the large screen. Because 3 years ago, you were consistently putting contraceptives into my tonic supplements. This is the hospital's test report. I always thought it was my own problem. I visited countless doctors, drank endless bitter remedies, and tortured myself into an barely recognizable state. It wasn't until recently that I discovered the truth. While you made me endure the pain of being unable to conceive and Martha's humiliation, you had already fathered a son with another woman outside. Marcus, what exactly is your heart made of? My voice held a tremor, not of weakness, but of extreme rage. Below the stage, my father's old friends and business associates, one by one, turned ashen-faced and slammed their hands on the tables. You bastard! Do you think our Sioux family is so easily bullied? Marcus completely broke down. He fell to his knees before me, clutching my legs, sobbing uncontrollably. Grace, I was wrong, I was truly wrong. I was blinded by greed. Please forgive me this one time, I beg you. I'll make them leave immediately. I swear, I'll never have anything to do with them again. The one that got away and his beloved son, whom he'd cherished just moments before, instantly became disposable trash in the face of his own interests. I kicked his hand away in disgust, looking down at him. Too late. I took out the stock grant agreement and, in front of everyone, signed my name clearly and forcefully after the 4 words waive the grant. Grace. My possessions are yours only if I give them to you. If I don't give them to you, you cannot take them. And now, I'm not giving them to you. I handed the signed agreement to Mr. Miller, who was already waiting off stage. Mr. Miller walked onto the stage, took the microphone, his voice steady and powerful. I announce that, effective immediately, Miss will formally reclaim the 51% shares of Radiant granted by Mr. William Minger to Mr. Marcus. Mr. Marcus will no longer be the controlling shareholder of the company. Concurrently, Miss, as the major shareholder, will convene an emergency board meeting tomorrow to remove Mr. Marcus from his position as CEO. Furthermore, regarding Mr. Marcus's alleged occupational embezzlement, misappropriation of company funds totaling 2.7 million yuan, and malicious poisoning, we have already filed a police report. The police will arrive shortly. Mr. Miller's words were like a final judgment, nailing Marcus to the pillar of shame. He slumped to the floor, his eyes vacant, completely stunned. At that moment, the banquet hall doors were violently thrown open, and several uniformed police officers, under the gaze of everyone present, walked directly towards the stage. The arrival of the police escalated the farce to an irreversible climax. Mr. Marcus, we have received a report suspecting you of occupational embezzlement and intentional harm. Please come with us to assist with the investigation. Cold handcuffs, glinting under the brilliant crystal chandeliers, bound Marcus's wrists. Only at this moment did Marcus awaken from the immense shock. He struggled wildly, his eyes bloodshot, roaring at me, Grace, you poisonous woman. May you die a horrible death. You actually plotted against me. Plotted? I sneered. Compared to your 3 years of meticulous scheming, what little trick is this of mine? Seeing her son handcuffed, Martha finally reacted. She plopped onto the floor, throwing a tantrum, wailing and slapping her thighs. This is outrageous. The police are arresting an innocent man. My son is innocent. It's all this vixen's fault for framing him. She pointed at me, then at Chloe, who was slumped on the side. It's you too. You conspired to harm my son. Chloe, pointed at, was scared out of her wits and scrambled to flee. Miss Chloe, you are also suspected of being an accomplice. Please come with us as well. Another police officer blocked her path. A recognition banquet that was meant to be splendid ended abruptly with the 3 members of the host family being taken away by the police in utter disarray. The guests buzzed with chatter, their gazes shifting from pity to reverence, and a hint of imperceptible fear. They probably never imagined that the Sioux family's eldest daughter, who usually presented a gentle demeanor, possessed such decisive and powerful methods. The banquet dispersed in discord. I stood alone on the empty stage, looking at the mess all around, feeling no joy of revenge, only endless exhaustion and sorrow. 3 years of marriage, in the end, was nothing but a joke. Sarah walked over, took off her high heels, and hugged me sympathetically. Grace, it's all over. No, it's not over yet. I leaned on her shoulder, my voice soft. This is just the beginning. Marcus isn't one to give up easily. I knew he had another trick up his sleeve. The next day, I appeared in Radiant's top-floor office as the new CEO. Everything here was still as I had personally designed it for him, the cold black and gray aesthetic reflecting his current image in my mind. The first thing I did was have administration replace all the furniture with warmer tones that I preferred. I had no use for Marcus's things, nor did I want to see them. The emergency board meeting proceeded unusually smoothly. My father's old associates wholeheartedly supported me, and several wavering minor shareholders, having witnessed my methods, also switched their allegiance. The motion to dismiss Marcus from his CEO position passed unanimously. I quickly stabilized the company's situation and announced a series of new development plans and employee incentive programs, minimizing the negative impact from last night's banquet. However, the calm lasted only 3 days. On the afternoon of the 3rd day, Mr. Miller found me, his expression grave. Miss, something's happened. The code for the company's core technology, the Sky system, has been leaked to an overseas open-source community. My heart sank. Was it Marcus? Mr. Miller nodded. He was released on bail. His mother threatened suicide, and Chloe took all the blame, temporarily creating a flaw in the chain of evidence. As soon as he was out, he did this. The Sky system was the lifeline of Radiant, our fundamental edge over all competitors. Once the source code was leaked, it meant our greatest advantage would vanish into thin air, and any competitor could easily replicate our products. For tech, this was a fatal blow, cutting the ground from beneath us. Almost simultaneously, my phone rang. It was Marcus. Grace, surprised? Thrilled? On the other end of the line, his voice was filled with maniacal glee. You thought you won? I'm telling you, if I'm not going to be well, neither are you. Without the Sky system, Radiant is just an empty shell. Get ready for bankruptcy. I still hold the company's biggest client, Mr. Thomas. He's agreed to partner with me and start a new company. And you'll have nothing. Grace, we'll fight to the bitter end. His words were like a heavy punch, slamming into the defenses I had just built. The company's stock price plummeted, the board was in chaos, and employees were filled with unease. It seemed I was truly backed into a corner by him. Marcus's counterattack was even more vicious and cruel than I had anticipated. He not only leaked the source code for the Sky system but also took the core technical team from the company's tech department, as well as our largest client, Mr. Thomas. Mr. Thomas's project accounted for nearly 40% of the company's annual revenue. His betrayal was like adding fuel to the fire. Suddenly, the company was in turmoil, both internally and externally. In the board meeting, the shareholders who had previously fawned over me now wore changed expressions. Miss Sue, what do we do now? The Sky system is gone, and Mr. Thomas has left. What do we have to fight Marcus with? He's trying to kill us. Maybe we should talk to Marcus? After all, he's the company's founder, he has an emotional attachment to it. I watched these opportunists with cold eyes, understanding completely. They never cared about the company's survival, only their own interests. Please calm down, everyone. I stood up, my voice soft but with an undeniable steadiness. What can take our things we can afford to lose? The foundation of Radiant, he cannot touch. My composure temporarily calmed the agitated board. But everyone knew this was merely the calm before the storm. Marcus quickly registered a new company, naming it New Tech, openly challenging me. Relying on the leaked source code and Mr. Thomas's orders, he quickly established a foothold in the market. He even gave an exclusive interview to financial media, portraying himself on camera as a tragic entrepreneur mercilessly kicked out by capital. Radiant was something I built from scratch, like my own child. But now, my child has been stolen by someone else, he said, his eyes slightly red, looking into the camera. I just want to reclaim what's mine. Twisting facts and garnering sympathy, he was a master at this game. Public opinion began to subtly shift, with some uninformed individuals starting to sympathize with Marcus and criticize me as a capitalist who was too ruthless. The company's stock price continued to fall, bank collection calls came one after another, and some employees began to waver, secretly sending their resumes to new tech. I was under unprecedented pressure. Sarah looked at my increasingly gaunt face, worried. Grace, are you really confident? I just feel. Marcus is much more prepared this time, he seems like a different person. I put down the documents and rubbed my aching temples. He hasn't changed, he's just revealing his true colors. Of course, I knew he was prepared. From the moment he dared to bring Chloe and his illegitimate son home, he had already laid out all his escape routes. Leaking the source code, turning the core team and clients against me, all of this was part of his plan. That recognition banquet, where he seemingly got caught off guard, was actually an integral part of his scheme, a calculated self-injury to gain sympathy and legitimately start anew. He thought he had calculated everything. He thought he held the trump card. He thought I, a hothouse flower, couldn't withstand such a storm. He underestimated me too much, and he underestimated my father, William Minger, even more. I dialed a long and used number. It was my father's chief technical consultant, a Silicon legend, Uncle. Uncle, it's me, Grace. Miss, I've been waiting for your call for a long time. His voice was steady and powerful. The bird plan can be activated. Understood. Hanging up the phone, I walked to the massive floor-to-ceiling windows, looking at the newly opened office building of New Tech across the street, a LD smile slowly curving on my lips. Marcus, you think you're holding the trump card? You're wrong. It was just a marked deck I handed to you. Every step you've taken has been within my calculations. Now, it's time to close the trap. The day after the bird plan was activated, Marcus's New Tech received its first devastating blow. Their biggest client, Mr. Thomas, who Marcus claimed was his staunchest ally, suddenly announced the unilateral termination of all collaborations with New Tech. He publicly accused Marcus of stealing trade secrets and stated his intention to pursue legal action. This surprise counterattack caught Marcus completely off guard. He rushed to Mr. Thomas's company in a fit of rage but couldn't even get past the door. Mr. Thomas, what does this mean? Didn't we have an agreement? Marcus roared over the phone. Mr. Thomas's voice was as cold as ice. Marcus, we have different principles. I conduct business based on trust. I can't associate with someone as disloyal as you. Hanging up, Marcus hadn't even recovered from the shock when the second blow immediately followed. The core technical team he had taken from Radiant collectively submitted their resignations. The leading technical director's resignation letter contained only one sentence: "There's no future in following a thief." Marcus was completely bewildered. He couldn't understand why, overnight, everyone had betrayed him. What he didn't know was that Mr. Thomas had been my father's close friend for many years. His so-called defection was a coordinated act to assist my plan from beginning to end. And that technical team consisted of a lead agent's uncle had long since embedded within the company. Their loyalty to the company far exceeded Marcus's imagination. The only reason they followed Marcus was to execute the final step of the bird plan, to personally hand Marcus a doctored source code. Within that seemingly complete Sky System source code was a meticulously designed logical flaw. This flaw would show no issues during normal operation, but as soon as the system ran beyond a certain time limit or processed a certain threshold of data, it would instantly crash, infecting and corrupting all connected databases. It was an unfixable, destructive code virus. And now, less than 24 hours remained until the virus's activation. Marcus's New Tech was about to turn into a heap of useless data ruins just when he felt most triumphant. I sat in my office at my leisure, watching Marcus's frantic, desperate antics via real-time monitoring provided by Uncle's team. He was like a headless chicken, frantically calling everyone, pleading with everyone, only to be met with dead ends. The investors and partners who once surrounded him were now avoiding him like the plague, kicking someone when they're down. This was the consequence of his betrayal. That evening, I received a call from Marcus. His voice was no longer arrogant and frenzied, instead, it was hoarse with exhaustion and despair. Grace. This was your doing, wasn't it? Yes, I didn't deny it. A long silence followed on the other end, punctuated only by his heavy breathing. Why? You could have completely destroyed me from the beginning. Why did you put on such a performance with me? He couldn't understand. Because, I looked out at the myriad lights twinkling in the city, my voice calm and cold. Killing you directly would have been too easy. I wanted you to first have hope, to climb to the very top, and then to experience the taste of falling from the heavens into hell. I wanted everything you personally built to vanish into thin air right before your eyes. I'm going to make you lose everyone, make you taste a fraction of the pain I once endured. Grace. You're truly ruthless. Thank you for the compliment. I hung up the phone and permanently blocked his number. Marcus, the game is over. Chapter Marcus's new tech went up in smoke exactly 1 day after he made that call to a code virus erupted, wiping out all data. Mr. Thomas's breach of contract fees and the technical team's compensation came crashing down like two enormous mountains. Not only did Marcus lose everything, but he also incurred tens of millions in massive debt. Overnight, he transformed from a celebrated tech mogul into a disgraced, down-and-out person pursued by everyone, a destitute man buried under debt. Upon hearing the news, Martha couldn't bear the immense shock. She suffered a stroke from sheer anger, leaving her paralyzed on the bed, paralyzed on one side of her face and unable to speak clearly. Marcus was completely ruined. He sold off everything he could, but it wasn't even enough to cover a fraction of his debt. Like a stray dog, he was hounded by creditors, forced to hide and constantly on the run, utterly humiliated. I thought our entanglement should have ended there. But I never expected Chloe, the woman I had always ignored, to suddenly step into the spotlight at that moment. She actually called a press conference. At the conference, holding her child, she wept profusely, looking utterly haggard. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, I stand before you today to reveal the truth. Marcus. He was framed. Everything was Grace's scheme. With tears streaming down her face, she accused me of crimes, portraying me as a deeply manipulative and ruthless woman who would stop at nothing to achieve her goals. She was jealous that I could bear Marcus a son, which is why she orchestrated all of this. She wants to ruin Marcus, to destroy our entire family. The reporters exchanged glances, clearly growing tired of this kind of drama involving affluent families. An impatient reporter asked, Ms. Chloe, do you have any evidence? Anyone can make baseless accusations. Evidence? Chloe gave a bitter laugh, pulling a document from her bag and holding it high. This is the evidence. It was a DNA paternity test report. I know you might not believe me, but this report, it absolutely won't lie. This report proves. Chloe took a deep breath, her voice suddenly rising, filled with desperate madness. It proves that my son, Leo, his biological father, is not Marcus at all. At these words, the entire hall erupted in an uproar. Everyone was stunned by this shocking revelation. Even I, watching all of this unfold via livestream, furrowed my brow slightly. What was she trying to do? Marcus wasn't the child's father? Then everything she'd done before would be a complete joke, wouldn't it? Just when everyone thought she had lost her mind, Chloe suddenly raised her hand and pointed towards a direction within the crowd of reporters. Her finger pointed precisely at Dylan, the heir apparent of the Lou, another major business giant in Sterling City and a longtime competitor of my Sioux family. Dylan's presence here today was already highly suspicious. Vicious glints sparked in Chloe's eyes, and her voice became shrill, like a phantom. The child's biological father is him, Dylan. And she knew about all of this from the very beginning. It was her. She single-handedly orchestrated my meeting with Marcus. She used me and my son to frame Marcus, aiming to ruin him while also dragging the Liu family down. She's the truly malicious mastermind behind all this. She wants us all to go down with her. In an instant, all the cameras and all eyes shifted abruptly from Chloe, turning en masse towards me, standing equally astonished at the back of the venue. Chapter Chloe's accusations, like a deep-sea bomb, unleashed a furious tsunami at the press conference. This twist was too astonishing, packed with an immense amount of information, causing all the reporters' brains to momentarily freeze. If it was telling the truth, then the entire nature of the incident completely changed. I would no longer be a pitiful wife rising up against a betraying husband, but rather a calculating, ruthless, venomous woman, one who would exploit an innocent mother and killed for commercial competition, manipulating both her husband and business rivals. This story was clearly far more sensational than a simple tale of an abandoned socialite's revenge. Like sharks smelling blood, the reporters instantly swarmed around me, countless microphones practically poking my face. Miss Sue, is what Miss Chloe is saying true? Did you know the child's true identity from the very beginning? Did you use the mother and child to simultaneously undermine Marcus and the Lou? Dylan's face also turned incredibly grim. Caught off guard by the sudden accusation, he roared at the reporters, his face flushed. Nonsense. I don't even know this woman. But persisted. Carrying her child, she rushed to Dylan and slapped the DNA report hard against his face. Dylan, do you dare to act and then deny it? Have you forgotten what happened that rainy night at the Crown? Do you dare say you don't know me? Dylan's pupils sharply contracted, and a flicker of panic crossed his eyes. That subtle hint of panic was precisely caught by the astute reporters. Flashbulbs began to intensely flare. In an instant, the situation turned extremely unfavorable for me. I was trapped in the middle of the reporters, in an impossible position. Sarah and a few security guards struggled to clear a path for me, but it was useless. I watched Chloe, who seemed to have gone mad nearby, and Dylan, whose face was ashen, yet my heart remained exceptionally calm. Chloe, do you think this is your desperate counterattack? Do you think you can drag me down, or even latch onto the prestigious Lou family? You are too naive. You, I, Marcus, and Dylan are all just pawns on a chessboard. And the true players have never been us. I took a deep breath, pushed aside the microphones in front of me, and looked at Chloe with cold eyes, speaking slowly and deliberately. You say I orchestrated all of this? Yes. Chloe retorted, her neck stiff with certainty. All right, I nodded, then took out my phone and pressed play. A clear recording, played through the connected microphones, resounded throughout the entire venue. It was a phone recording, and the participants in the conversation were Chloe and my father, William. The recording was from a year ago. Mr. William, you wanted to see me? Chloe's voice was tentative. Miss Chloe, my father William's voice was steady and authoritative. I know about you and Dylan, and I know you're carrying his child. I also know Dylan has no intention of acknowledging this child. You. What do you want? Chloe's voice was filled with caution. I want to make a deal with you, my father William said slowly. Marcus is the son-in-law I chose, but he has deeply disappointed me. His ambition is too vast for his abilities, and he presumptuously coveted things that didn't belong to him. I want you to appear before him with your child. I will give you a sum of money, enough for you to live comfortably for the rest of your life. After everything is done, I will help you ensure the Lou family acknowledges your identity and your child's. You want me to seduce Marcus? No, my father William's voice held a hint of cold amusement. To deal with an overconfident social climber like Marcus, no seduction is needed. You only need to appear, and he will swarm to you like a fly drawn to blood. All you need to do is cooperate with him and play out a drama he fancies as the one that got away returns, rekindling old flames. And my daughter, Grace, she will handle everything else. This recording, like a bolt of lightning, struck everyone present. Everyone was left speechless, stunned by the deeper layer of manipulation behind it all. It turned out that everything, from beginning to end, had been a grand scheme set by my father William. A meticulously woven trap designed to clean house and simultaneously strike down business rivals. Chloe's face instantly turned ashen. She looked at me in disbelief, her lips trembling, unable to utter a gle word. She thought she was the unwitting pawn, but she didn't realize that the true hunter had always been higher up, coldly watching her. Chapter When the recording ended, the entire venue fell silent. Everyone was utterly overwhelmed by the shocking truth revealed. It turned out that Marcus's betrayal, Chloe's appearance, and even Marcus's subsequent counterattack by stealing the source code, all of it had merely been a performance following William's script. Marcus believed he was infallible, but in reality, from start to finish, he was nothing more than a manipulated puppet, a mere instrument used to clean house and, incidentally, to strike down rivals. And I, seemingly the victim, was in fact the most crucial executor in this grand scheme. The reporter's gaze once again focused on me, but this time, their eyes no longer held doubt, but rather profound awe and fear. This father-daughter duo of the Sioux family, their minds and methods, were simply too terrifying. Dylan's face was paler than a corpse. He finally understood that he had fallen into William's trap from the very beginning. William had used his and Chloe's scandal not only to completely eliminate Marcus as a threat but also to mercilessly trample the Lou family's reputation. No, it's not like this. This isn't real. Chloe finally collapsed, slumping to the floor, muttering incoherently. Her last hope, the trump card she thought could control everyone, turned out to be a death warrant others had already prepared for her. I walked up to her, looking down at her, my eyes devoid of any warmth. Chloe, your mistake was in overestimating yourself and underestimating your opponent. You thought you could manipulate everyone, but you didn't know that while you were plotting against others, you had already become someone else's prey. Having said that, I no longer looked at her. I turned and, escorted by security, left the venue that had long since devolved into a farce. Behind me, I heard Dylan's furious roar, Chloe's desperate wails, and the reporter's frantic questions. But all of it no longer concerned me. This months-long upheaval finally concluded in the most decisive and shocking manner. After learning the full truth, Marcus completely lost his mind in the detention center. He couldn't accept that he had been nothing but a joke from beginning to end, a puppet manipulated by his father-in-law and wife. Ultimately, he was sentenced to 15 years in prison for multiple combined charges. Chloe, similarly, was sent to prison for multiple charges including fraud and blackmail. The innocent child, with the Liu family's consent, was sent to live with relatives abroad, far away from this troubled place. Due to this scandal, the Liu stock plummeted, and its reputation was tarnished. Dylan was also stripped of his inheritance by his father and sent abroad. As for Radiant, after enduring the crucible of coming back from the brink of ruin, it completely purged all internal threats. Under my leadership, its stock price soared, reaching unprecedented heights. I became a true legend in the business world. Everyone knew that Radiant's new queen possessed not only beauty and extraordinary intelligence and cunning. 1 year later, I stood in the top floor office of Radiant's new headquarters. Outside the massive floor-to-ceiling windows lay the bustling nightscape of Sterling City. I poured myself a glass of red wine, toasting the dazzling night and the reborn me. My cell phone vibrated in my pocket. It was a message from an unknown number. Miss Sue, congratulations. However, I regret that our acquaintance came about in such a way. I wonder if I might be so fortunate as to invite you for coffee, to formally apologize for my past foolishness? The sender was Dylan. I looked at the message, smiled faintly, and deleted it without a second thought. The people and events of the past were all fleeting illusions now. My life should no longer be troubled by such insignificant people. The office door knocked, and my special assistant entered. 5 years my senior, he was a poised and capable aide my father had hired for me, refined and gentle. Miss Sue, here is the next quarterly plan. He placed the document on my desk and thoughtfully draped a shawl over my shoulders. It's late, be careful not to catch a cold. Thank you, Julian. I smiled at him. His name was Julian, Dylan's cousin and the true heir of the Liu family. He was completely different from Dylan, humble, refined, and exceptionally capable. It was his character and ability that my father had recognized, choosing to collaborate with him on new projects after taking down Dylan. He looked at me, his eyes gentle and focused. I returned to the country to take over the family business, but even more so, it was for you. Grace, let the past be the past. In the future, I want to share in your joys and sorrows. Give me a chance to care for you, to love you, alright? I looked into his sincere eyes, recalling the sunlight by the sea, and those warm, gentle days. My life shouldn't just be about career and revenge. It should also have love, and be loved. Slowly, I nodded. Yes. The past is dead and gone. Fortunately, I buried my unbearable past with my own hands, so that today, I could meet a better future. This time, my happiness includes him.